All right. It is Monday, September the 15th. Today was a big transit day for us. So we spent a whole chunk of time in the morning. So we checked out, traveling. So we checked out from our Airbnb in Hachinohe. Basically, immediately got on a train. That like the first one, basically practically the first one that morning. Uh, Down. We took two different Shinkansens down to Kanazawa. We had a transfer at Omiya where it was like we had like 10 minutes, I think, and we were so sure we weren't gonna make it that we were kind of planning on like, oh, we're gonna get stuck with like an hour layover. Turns out the bullet train's super fast. We got there 4 minutes earlier than expected. And so we had time to grab two ekibens, or like train station bentos. So I got a tonkatsu one for myself and a karaage one for Stitches, and both were fine. They weren't spectacular, but definitely like better than, and like, you know, I guess convenience store food that you could have gotten. So like a tier above, or like fast food, I would say, like just a slight tier above. But they weren't winning any awards. But it was good to tide us over while we were uh, going on really really long bullet train rides. Uh, I say long in terms of distance, but in terms of speed, pretty fast. We actually got to Kanazawa earlier than we expected, so we had our check-in was at 3, if I recall correctly, and we got here at about like a little after 1. Um, so we got to our Airbnb, which is actually a hotel this time. Um, the staff here are pretty young, but the staff that came to the guy that was there to meet us and help us check in, he's from South Carolina. And he's a super cool, interesting dude. Came here to teach Japanese. He's married to a Japanese national, so he's getting his like other sort of permanent residency stuff through his marriage. Um, yeah, he was a super cool dude. Yeah, his Japanese was perfect. His coworker had no idea I spoke Japanese or was Japanese, so I had the whole I'm half Japanese conversation. But it was interesting. Like we were just talking about sort of our different experiences with immigrating, because Stitch and I immigrating to Canada, or trying to get permanent residency in Canada, him getting permanent residency in Japan, and yeah, he did the JET program. So he was teaching in schools. At one point, he was teaching in a town near Kanazawa, and he had 14 different schools he was teaching at. That's crazy. Anyway, so we left our luggage here, and but we went out because we wasn't yet our time to check in. So we stopped by two different places. One was a bunch of alleyways full of little market stalls and shops. We tried a bunch of stuff, just a lot of food. Just tried a lot of stall food. We didn't like eat a ton because obviously we had the ekibens earlier in the day, but I had unagi, which was amazing. We had some kakigori because it's hot, because now that we're moving back south again, it's getting hotter. Although it's still not as hot as it was in Tokyo when we first got here. And then we went to so it's Silver Week here, so it's not Golden Week and Silver Week are these 2 weeks in Japan where there's a lot of federal holidays that line up. So it's a holiday today, and there's a festival going on where it's like a craft festival, but it's hard to describe. It's like crafts, but also there is like jazz music and like a lot of American music. It was interesting, but it was very cool. Like they had three ladies performing like jazz covers inside of a temple. Like the temple doors are open and they were like performing in the temple. It was kind of rad. But we went down this craft path. I got a bunch of cards from. It was literally like an artist alley. So I was just any place, even if whether we bought something or not, if they just seemed cool, I got their business card. It literally felt like artist alley. What did we end up getting from there though? We found some brooches that were beautiful, gorgeous, like brass brooches. We got two of those. Everything was very cheap. It was like 800 yen to like I think the most expensive thing we spent was like 1,000 yen on the curtains. It's like curtains, shop curtains that you'd like walk through, right? If you were entering like a ramen shop or an izakaya or something, there was a lady and I think maybe her son and his wife, or that two an older lady selling like authentic ones from, I guess, closed shops, closed stores. So we got one from there because that was something Stitches was like, I really like that for our kitchen or something. So I was like, cool. Well, we found one, and it's got all these crests on it, these Japanese crests on it. It's very cool. What else do we get? Got the brooch. We got that. Stitches got a kimono book cover as a gift for her friend. What else did we get? Oh, there was a cool artist guy that I got to chat up, and I picked up we picked up some keychains or like charms from him, and but we also, the weirdest thing that we got by far was American long fries. Hi, babe. Do you want to try and explain American long fries to people?
So
you might have to speak up, actually.
So friends, imagine like fried dough, except it's mashed potatoes, and they're just squeezed out of a ricer, and so they're just very long mashed potato that's fried on the outside, but they're still very soft on the inside, but they're not super crispy. Weird. Good, but weird.
Yeah, it was not bad, but I'm still sitting here confused about what it was. Like, I'm like, that wasn't French fries? But it wasn't like fried dough either. Like, it was mashed potatoes. But I'm like, oh, do you call those French fries? It was like the kind of thing where I was like, nobody, like the fact they were also called American long fries. And I was like, I don't know anywhere in America that does this, that makes fries through like mashed potatoes in a
ricer.
Like in a ricer, like squeezed out of a ricer into like into oil, into like hot oil. And then they like fished out as these really, really long sticks. It was bizarre. I'm still flabbergasted. And then anyway, we did that. We came back at our check-in time. We chatted some more with the staff there. Oh yeah, I already summarized all the stuff about the staff conversation.
Nice.
And now we're showered and not gross and sweaty anymore.
Oh,
and
God.
I'm so tired. I'm so tired. We're both so tired. Okay, it is the 16th of September. It is a Tuesday. We slept in a fair bit. Stitches called her family. So we did some video calls. But we slept in. And because today is supposed to be one of the only good days with good weather, because it's supposed to be pretty overcast and rainy for the next couple of days at least, we decided we were going to go to the garden, which is a garden left from a very famous samurai who I guess also owned the castle. I actually don't really know the connection between the two. We got to look up the history a little bit.
Kendokuen Gardens.
Yes, it's the Kendokuen Gardens. We did not visit the castle interior proper because we decided we were just going to get tickets for the garden. We did not end up getting tickets for the castle or a lot of the other surrounding museums, but because it's going to rain later in the week, those are probably places we can go visit, since they're in buildings and not outside. So we spent the day wandering around the outdoor castle grounds, which are public. You can still access those without a ticket. And then also exploring the Kenroku Gardens, which were very fascinating. It's a quite old garden. There's a lot of really interesting signs. Like, they have the oldest bronze statue, or suspected to be the oldest bronze statue in Japan, the oldest fountain in Japan, which is like a natural spring-like fountain.
It uses the difference in height between the pond and the fountain.
Yes.
To create a
natural water pressure.
Awesome.
The pond, the artificial pond was very cool. I was just fascinated by all of the various trees that are... Stitches thought that they were more about structurally supporting the trees, these posts that hold up the tree branches. My theory is that they're meant to manipulate the growth of the tree, in a way, like in the same way that a bonsai might have like wiring or things like that to manipulate the growth of the tree. These posts are meant to hold up branches and have them grow out. There were also these other wooden structures around the garden that are meant to suspend the trees with ropes during wintertime so that the branches won't break from the weight of snow. But it's very cool. It's kind of precisely, I feel like, what you would see from a sort of Japanese garden, but on an extremely large scale, where there's a lot of, I say artificial in a good way, but like a lot of construction and artifice that makes up the garden. But it's on a scale that makes you like amazed, because the castle grounds are absolutely enormous, and the garden itself is enormous. Like you cannot. There's a lot of, you cannot see the edges of the garden basically from anywhere.
It took us several hours to walk through.
Yeah, it took us several hours to walk through all of it.
Calmly, but still.
Yeah. But after we were done, we were like, let's go find somewhere to eat, because we didn't really eat much during the day. And we then spent the entire walk back to the hotel not finding a place to eat because apparently we found this out speaking to one of the staff at the Airbnb here that we spoke to yesterday, who's the American from South Carolina who's married to a Japanese citizen, where he was explaining to us that the entirety of the prefecture goes on break. What is it, from like 3 o'clock?
Well, it's a custom, especially in this prefecture and especially in Kanazawa, for that restaurant workers to take their break between 3 and 5. So
yeah.
Restaurants just close.
Yeah, some places just close at 3.
Yeah.
Some places reopen. Some places will reopen at 5. But it is regular. It is not surprising for places just close at 3 o'clock. So we were walking down and just places were closing as we were walking, or they were already closed. So we ended up eating at the restaurant attached to the hotel, which apparently has its own interesting story, because the hotel and restaurant used to be one and the same, and then whoever owns the current hotel did a hostile takeover of the hotel, but technically not of the restaurant, so the restaurant is its own thing. Where the guy working there now is like owns the restaurant and pays rent to the hotel. I don't know. It was its own story. But they do Italian food and Detroit deep dish pizza.
Chicago
The chef has never been to America, by the way. Just making that clear. Maybe he's been to Italy, I don't know. But he's not been to America. The food was very good. I need to be very clear. The food was very good, right? Yes?
Really, yes. No, totally.
The food was very good. It was not Italian food. No, it was not Italian food. I think some of the reason Japan just can't do Italian food has to in part due to ingredients. For example, there were mushrooms, and I love mushrooms, but there were mushrooms in the pasta, but they were not European style mushrooms. They were like Asian mushrooms, which definitely changes the flavor and texture of the entire dish. Mm-hmm. The noodles were definitely like very al dente, and in a way the thickness almost reminds you more of like not udon, but like
ramen.
Yeah,
noodles.
like thicker ramen noodles. Yeah, like thicker real ramen. Like clearly real noodles, not freeze dried, but like thicker,
but not
like
quite spaghetti.
It's not quite spaghetti either. But they're also like, it's very clear they're like sort of missing oregano or like
or basil
or like, well, at least there's different herbs, right, that aren't Italian. But anyway, that was what we did. And then we ate because we managed to get a reservation. Again, thanks to the concierge dude, who's super cool. apparently he knew absolutely no Japanese when he moved here, but now he's married to a Japanese lady, and they speak Japanese together. And I'm like, good on you, dude. You're way better than the average white dude who shows up and does the JET program. Do you know what I mean? And then ends the JET program without speaking any Japanese. The amount of people I've met who are like full-grown adults, like especially when I was in college, I would meet like an adult, and they'd be like, "Oh, I spent a couple of years in Japan." And then I'd try and speak to them, and they go, "Oh, I didn't learn any Japanese, though." And I was like, "What did you do then?"
I literally.
What do you mean you spent years in Japan and you never learned to speak Japanese? Years.
In a bilingual city, and I still learn French.
Years. Anyway, so we did that. We wandered around. We've got some snacks for the evening, and we're probably gonna crash. And then I suspect tomorrow will be a laundry day, at least for me, especially if it rains. Basically, whatever day it rains, that's gonna be laundry day. Do you have anything else you want to add?
No, that's pretty much it.
Okay, cool. It's bedtime.
Make sure you see the video. It'd be cool.
Okay, today is Wednesday, September 17th. Not a super... It was still a long day of walking, or a fair bit of walking, but we didn't really do a ton. Our goal today was Pokemon Center and B-Side Label, which is the sticker store. The Pokemon Center was a lot smaller than the other Pokemon Centers, I felt like, right, babe? Yeah? Yeah. It was a lot...
Just not... Well, I don't know if it was necessarily that much smaller, but it was less packed.
It was definitely less packed. I do think it was smaller than the Tokyo ones, for sure. Might have been around the same size as the softball. I don't know, I felt like the softball one was big, too. But anyway... we went around. There was Halloween Pokemon stuff that looked very cute, but Stitches got her pin, her Pokemon pin, and that was basically our main objective. And she got a file folder with the cute Halloween Pokemon on them.
They also had special Kanazawa region. Pikachu in a kimono.
Oh yes, Kanazawa Pikachu in a kimono. After that, we went to... Well, what else? There was something else on the 5th floor, no? Oh.
We went to Loft.
We went to Loft trying to find another stamp book. Not successful, but it's just got another sort of backup stamp book anyway. And then we spent a lot of time in a gachapon place. Not really getting too much gachapon, but just looking around, and I found gachapon of that are like they're like plastic model Gundam sort of things. I'll there's no pictures of these, so you can just ignore that. But we got stuff. Stitches got Pikmin things, and
I got a really cute Pikmin.
We found the movie theater. I think we're gonna go see the Chainsaw Man movie on Friday. We'll see if I succeed on that. And then on our way down, we went to Bayside Label, and the people at Bayside Label were very cool. We got to talk to them a lot. They told us they have a location in Nagoya, so at this point, I'm getting recommended B-side labels from people at B-side, like the Harajuku B-side sent us to Kanazawa B-side. The Kanazawa B-side are sending us to the Nagoya B-side. But man, the artists that work for B-side label are just super good. Like the variety of styles and just consistency of styles. Whoever their in-house artists are, all just hit it out of the park. Although I will say, the Kanazawa B-side label had some of the raunchiest stickers. Oh man, definitely stuff you cannot put on YouTube, but goddamn, they had some raunchy stickers. But yeah, so those people were really cool. We then... Oh, very beginning, we went to a curry place before we did all of that. We went to Champion's Curry, which are the English-speaking staff here. We were talking to them about failing to go to a curry place last night, and they were like, "Oh yeah, you gotta go to Champion's Curry." So we went to Champion's Curry, and it was very good. It was really good. But now I feel like I have to go to the other places to compare. But it was very good curry. That was the very first thing we did, actually. And then we did all the other stuff that I just said. What was the other thing I was going to say? And then we...
Fairy shark?
Oh, Stitches got a little fairy shark from the gachapon. And then... I don't know. Was there anything else?
Nope. We got food.
Oh yeah, we got food. We showered. Laundry machines are all full, so we'll try and get laundry done later today, but probably won't. But yeah, we'll see. That was it.
All right. Hi, everybody. Happy time zone. Today is Thursday the 18th for us, or the end of the day, rather. We got up, did laundry, dressed for rain. It was a rainy kind of day, but still kind of nice and warm, I guess. We spent most of the day in the Higashichaya district, which is like the tea district, and it's one of the preserved Edo period districts here in Kanazawa. So we did a lot of exploring. We found a lot of things, and yeah, so it was beautiful. We walked around a bunch, lots of little narrow winding streets and all these, like, you know, beautiful old wood buildings and you know, houses, and lots of little like nooks and crannies and hotels and fancy restaurants. There's lots and lots of French here, so I saw a couple, like there's a French bistro and a French Japanese place, that kind of thing. But pretty cool. We got lunch down there, and we also tasted the kind of famous Kanazawa gold leaf soft serve. So we got a ice cream cone that's, you know, vanilla soft serve and a swirl, but attached to it is gold leaf. And it was good. Not that much different than just the normal ice cream, but like if you get a good bit with the gold, sometimes the taste has like a nutty aftertaste. If you taste just the gold, it doesn't really taste like anything, or maybe like paper, a little bit metallic-y. Not really though. Anyways, it was interesting. Fun to have done. Not gonna win any awards from us in a way after having Hokkaido milk flavored ice cream. So, too good. Hokkaido lives up to the hype in terms of milk stuff. What else did we do? We went around, we found a cute little shop. We found some really cool bandanas with different kinds of Japanese motifs and Kanazawa motifs and that kind of thing. They're really cool. The ones that I got have some sashiko embroidery patterns on them, and also morning glories, and I love morning glories. It's one of my favorite flowers. And Agra and I picked out one that we call the crane tessellation, because it's kind of like repeating cranes on it. And he got one that's kind of black and red and gold patterns and knots and things. It's really cool. So popped in, spoke with the woman there, popped out again, and continued on our way. We stopped into a little sweets shop and got some snackies, one of which was a chestnut butter cream dorayaki. Like, it has, you know, dorayaki red bean and then also this chestnut cream, which is really, really good. Delightful, delicious. But we also got white bean castella. Castella cake is that Portuguese cake that was then been made Japanese. And so the white bean, it was very good, but it tastes a little more beany than red bean, for example, which is kind of interesting. Still good though. Just interesting. Okay, so saw the beautiful Chaya district. Lots of tourists though. We should go again in like an earlier time of day. But our main point of being there for today was to go see part of this art exhibition called Go for Koge. And it's all about craft and craftsmanship arts here in Ishikawa Prefecture, and kind of in Kanazawa specifically as well. So we ended up going to 4 different galleries of the 5 that were kind of in the district. We could only find 4. So we went to the main information desk, and we saw some really cool, creepy, interesting, intricate kind of sculptures. Wait till you see some of this stuff, you guys. It's really cool to look at. Lots of detail to dive into. There are also some fiber arts things there that I liked that got more detailed the more you looked at them, which was interesting. So that was the first one. The next one we went to was 2 artists. One is has gotten into traditional thatching, like thatch work where you thatch roofs and things like that, except now he's taking his impression of this art and turning it into different artistic expression. And the second artist is a traditional barrel maker, who finds that it, like, expanding what can be done with the structure of the barrel. And the cool thing that we saw there was this ceremonial tea house that can be moved. That's basically, what if a barrel was big enough to be a house, but has a traditionally thatched roof and tatami mats. It is very interesting, and yeah, that was cool. The third one that we saw was probably Agra's and my favorites, which was this really intricately done glasswork where there's even glass and glass over this rusted metal kind of sculpture, and kind of all about the artist statement says something like delicacy and dynamism of life, but represented by these decaying or growing kind of creepy structures like organs or fruit. It's very, very, very cool. Wait till you see this kind of like red and black glass stuff, you guys. It's really cool. The last one we went to was pretty much personal. It was, as in not personal, and very much these kind of like historical deep dives into the use of natural fiber in Japan. And so the artists tried to remove themselves as much as possible and have it be a representation of their research into these materials. I thought it was pretty interesting. Just, they had many different garments that were all kind of the same type of garment, but all made by, different people, different things, but all made of hemp. And you can kind of see where things were repaired, where things were falling apart, stitches like that are done really intricately, or ones that are done decoratively, but also to hold things together. It was nice, but not as cool as some of the other stuff. So, that's some of the art that we saw today. That was excellent. Then we made our way out of that district and kind of towards the station to go to the movie theater and pick up tickets for tomorrow, because we're going to go see the Chainsaw Man movie, which releases tomorrow. So we're going early in the morning. We're going to be some of the first people to see the movie, and I'm not going to know what's going on, but it's going to be fine. It's going to be fun regardless. Agra's going to have a great time. And we'll tell you guys how it goes. No spoilers, of course. So we got tickets for that, and then made our way to Kakatsu Club, which is the manga cafe. So Agra could do uploads, and I could do a little spreadsheet stuff on like an actual computer and not my phone, which is very nice. We had a ton of ice cream, and then we parted ways for a bit. I went back to the hotel. Basically, I took a long meandering kind of walk back so I could go explore some of the other places, which was nice. And then Agra came back and we went to dinner. We went to a set meal restaurant, Teishoku restaurant, and it was pretty darn good. It was great. We got some Kanazawa cider, which was yuzu cider, which is really, really kind of the star of the show. It was really good. All right, and now we're going to get up early tomorrow, so I'm going to say goodnight to you guys now while we pass out, basically, and just hopefully sleep and then wake up early on time for us to go explore the Samurai District and then go see a movie. All right, goodbye. Good night, everyone. Enjoy art, don't die. Bye. All right, hi everybody, Stitches again, doing the recording for today, which is Thursday, September 19th in Kanazawa. So we got up early today. We went out to see the Samurai District, which is another of the kind of preserved Edo districts here in Kanazawa. We wanted to get there pretty early so we could miss the tourists and take some cool video, which Agra did. So it's pretty interesting. Obviously the buildings are preserved, but you'll see like the walls, it almost looks like a bit of a labyrinth from where we are, because they're at high level or like above our heads. But they're like stone on the bottom, and then they're with brick and straw and stuff to build them up, and they protect them in the winter and rain, and they have the tops on them to protect them from rain. We got there too early to go in the samurai house, but we might do that another day. We will see, depending on how we feel. So, we did that. That was lovely, very cool and interesting. And then we kind of took a different path to meander up back close to the station. So we went along the water channel, and just saw kind of parts of the living space, living people, lots and lots of kids going to school, all in their uniforms and stuff. It was very nice. I said to the movies, because we went to the Chainsaw Man premiere today, the 9:40 premiere, the first slot we could get to see the new Chainsaw Man movie for the Reze arc. Agra had a great time. I got the gist, but there are no subtitles. So I kind of watched Pretty Pictures Move, and my 40 Japanese words were working overtime to let me know anything that was happening. But it was still really cool. Highly recommend. It was good stuff. It was great. And we got gotcha boxes with pins that are really freaking cool. I think we took pictures, but if not, we'll make a little video tomorrow in the daylight. We got, well, I won't reveal which ones we got, but we got 3, and they're sick. Okay. After that, we ended up going to a shop and cafe that we had seen or someone sent us on socials. And my God, you guys, everything about this was cool. So walk down kind of a side street off the main street, blah, blah, blah. You go into this kind of shopping center, I guess. Not very busy or anything like that. Like nothing going on even in the middle of the day, like 1 p.m. And it's called, well, the shop is called Schrodinger's Cat Oddities and Antiques. And that was great. Like, talk about oddities, like a little snake skeleton that had horns and, deer skulls with plants growing in them, and jewelry made of crystals and blown glass, jellyfish and pinned bugs and wax seals and all sorts of like cool miniature art and pins and stickers and things like that. Like really, really cool stuff. You guys are gonna like lose your mind seeing this. And the guy that runs it is really cool. Agar wants me to mention him specifically because he's a cool dude and deserves recognition. But he's maybe the first and only person so far that has clocked Agra as Japanese and didn't question who he is, where he's from, how he's learned Japanese, etc. Just talked to him and then, had a good conversation. So he's a cool dude. The goths are always cool, you guys. Next, one of the coolest parts of this shop/cafe, the cafe part, is literally through the wardrobe, like Narnia style. There's a wardrobe, like a corner wardrobe in the corner of the shop. And he's like, go ahead. And we're like, okay. You open the door and you push the clothes aside and you go through the curtain at the back and you're in the cafe. You take a couple steps down. So I guess it's technically kind of the basement. Holy moly, you guys. So freaking cool. Kind of industrial shelves in the middle, and everywhere there's books, and there's a peacock, like a taxidermied peacock. Holy crap, those birds are huge, you guys. And little skulls and little stuff in jars, but also just like cool matchboxes and interesting books and art books and like all of Akira and yeah, and like cool lights and things like that. There was one light I liked a lot that was kind of like a bulb, but then everything else in the glass like lantern of it was dandelion fluff. Like looked like real dandelion fluff, but I don't know. And then the main cafe area has all of these like clocks that go off kind of at different times, and antique tables and lamps, and 2 of them were tread sewing machines. So like treadle, where you push the thing and it spins, but no sewing machine on top, just the treadle foot. And it's like a tea and coffee bar. So you pay for your time there, and then you just get however much tea and coffee you want. But we also ordered the edible jewel, and we had no idea what to expect. And what shows up is a crystal under a glass, and you take the glass off, and then you break off part of the crystal, and you eat it. And we can't figure out what exactly it was. And it tasted sweet, but not specifically like any real flavor. But it looks real, like a real crystal, until you like, even when you touch it, it's kind of hard to touch, and then you like break it, and it breaks off in little pieces. But it was like gelatin and melted, but kind of crackled. It was really interesting. So Agra hung out there for a couple hours and drew and had some time. And I left after about an hour of hanging out, chatting about the movie. And I left and I talked to the guy in my best Japanese, where I told him my time and I paid and then said thank you and then asked where the bathroom was and then said thank you and then said thank you again, and then I realized we were in a politeness war and I had to let him have the last arigato gozaimasu before I left. So I did. But he's one of the few Japanese people who hasn't looked like I'm from outer space when I try saying Japanese words to him, which a lot of people do. More on that later. So I left. I walked on home, played a ton of Pokemon Go on the way, which was great. I hung out, and then Agra is not feeling so great, so he's taken some cold medicine, and he kind of slept for the evening, and I went out to dinner by myself. I went back to the Teishoku place with a tiny grandma, and she was very nice to me. And then, yeah, I'm back, and I'm going to read a bit and then go to bed. And Agra's asleep. So, goodbye, everyone. Have a good day. Enjoy Art, Don't Die, and we'll see you tomorrow. Bye. Hello, everybody. Little recap of what I did on Saturday, the 20th of September. So, Agra is a bit sick right now, so I had a solo adventure day while he rested. I actually bought a museum cultural pass kind of thing, so I can go to all sorts of stuff yesterday, and then I'll go today as well, which is the 21st, because I'm recording in the morning, because I forgot yesterday. Yeah, so what did I do? I got up, I made sure Agra was okay, I left, I walked down through some of the castle gardens again, because the castle and gardens are kind of in between me and a lot of the museums. They're all kind of grouped together. Not all of them, but a lot of them. So there's some new footage stuff of that. And then walked down. I went to, I think, 5 museums yesterday. So I went to the Kanazawa Folklore Museum, which is pretty interesting. It's housed in like an old junior high building, which is really interesting, and it's purple, which is kind of pretty. And yeah, just a little bit of what life is like in Kanazawa. They had some interesting stuff like pre-war, post-war exhibitions, special exhibition stuff. One of the special exhibitions was all about the family crests and things and how they're, put on clothing, things like that. More about the kind of famous lacquerware that's done here. And then I walked up to the Ishikawa Prefectural Museum of History, so local history museum, and it's combined kind of with the Kagahondo Museum. So there are 3 long brick buildings, which apparently used to be the armory, which was then changed into like a national crafts training facility, and now it's the Museum of History here. And it was pretty cool. It was very interesting in the just getting kind of a history of things and people. It went back to kind of prehistoric up through almost modern day, I guess, plus a bunch of samurai stuff as well, which is very cool. Yeah, it was very nice. And then moved on and went to the Kagahondo Museum, and the Kagahondo Museum is more the history of the families in the region. So I couldn't take a lot of pictures and stuff in there, except for the samurai room. So, you win some, you lose some. But it was pretty cool. So it was very much about the families and domains here. So I think it's the Kaga clan and then Honda family. And so I think they're on the 16th generation of the Honda family. But it was about some of the famous ancestors and what they did, and allies and friendships and trades and all that kind of stuff. So it was pretty interesting. Check out the samurai armor at the end because it is really freaking cool. Okay, and then after that I moved on up to, I was on my way to the National Crafts Museum, which, as you can imagine, is a little more widespread about Japan, not just Ishikawa or Kanazawa. Ishikawa is the prefecture, Kanazawa is the city we're in. Funny little like take on that too. So there's this thing called Poke Lids, which is this kind of public art thing where manhole covers are painted with Pokemon. So I found the one next to the Kuwashima Shrine in Hachinohe, but I now have also seen the Milotic one in Kanazawa, which is right in front of the National Crafts Museum. And it was very funny because I paused to take a picture, and there was a Japanese guy who was there taking a picture, and he like looked down, so he got a perfect like aerial shot of it, and then he like did a dramatic one, and he like apologized to me because he thought I was really waiting, and I was like, no, it's whatever. I didn't really say much. I just kind of like laughed and waved, and then I said one of my 40 Japanese words, which is onaji, which means same. And so he left, oh, onaji, okay, so like you're doing the same thing. So I was like, yay. We had a moment. It was very funny. So he moved on, and I got to take my dramatic photo of the Poke Lid. And then I went into the National Crafts Museum, and so the exhibition they had on was about a woman named Lucy Ree, which was all about. She's a potter, ceramicist kind of deal, and yeah, how to describe it? Basically, told about the kind of her influences, including a big Japanese influence, basically. So she even did an exhibition with Issey Miyake, the famous like fashion designer who saw her work at one point, went to her atelier in London, visited her, and proposed an exhibition together. So they did an exhibition together, but she is influenced by like Bauhaus movement and the London and England like arts and crafts movement, and so it was a whole exhibition of her work plus her contemporaries, teachers, collaborators, etc. So it was really pretty cool. And then the last museum that I went to was the Ishikawa Prefectural Museum of Art, which was enormous, and I did not leave myself enough time to go through everything, which I'm a little sad about, but whatever, that's what happens. You try to go to 5 museums in one day, you're gonna miss some stuff. But I went through 5 exhibition rooms, I think. Yeah, so saw kind of these famous like lacquer and silver incense burners, but they're ceramic and they're shaped like peacocks, so peacock, peahen, pear. They're really kind of amazing. They're very brightly colored and fabulous. There was a there was a room full of basically scrolls and paintings from I forgot the family name, from one of the families in Japan. Not the Maeda, maybe the Maeda, M-A-E-D-A clan. I can't quite remember, but we weren't allowed to take any pictures or photos, but it is pretty cool seeing things like letters and scrolls written from like 1602 and stuff like that, so that's pretty cool. The next one was all about the next exhibition room was about Kokutani, which I took a lot of pictures of because I think it was really, really cool. Basically, Kutani is it's like enamel. Was it enamel paint? Paint on ceramics kind of thing, but it's a very specific way of doing that, and also quite old. So Edo period or before Edo period. Oh yeah, Kokutani is pre-Edo period, I think, and then Kutani is the more modern version of it. So some are really cool, very bright in a way you wouldn't expect from very old kind of pottery and things like that. So took a lot of pictures of those. They're really cool. The next 3 rooms I saw were more contemporary work. So statues, paintings, etc. I took pictures of some of my favorites and some of the stuff that I could take pictures of. There's some stuff I love that I couldn't take pictures of. But yeah, didn't seem to have any real like themes that brought the rooms together, other than this is painting and this is sculpture, but still really interesting kind of stuff. I'll share with you guys some of the paintings that I really liked. in here, and then there was a room that was all about local crafts, and that was one of the rooms I spent a bunch of time in. Very, very cool stuff. Just really interesting. A lot of, again, the lacquerware. Oh, the inlay techniques that I saw in some, like, the Kanazawa Folklore Museum. But it's, inlaying metal into wood or into metal. And so there's a bunch of different small art pieces in there that's all about that. With different metals and things like that. Again, the painting techniques and lacquerware and that kind of thing. This is getting to be a long video. Recording, rather. So let me wrap it up. After that, and there's some really amazing paintings, including some, like, moon-themed paintings, which is very fun. For us. And after that, I went and got curry from a place called Turban Curry, which is one of the kind of famous Kanazawa chains here. So we've tried Champion Curry, which is Chan Kare, and now we've tried Turban Curry. And we have to say that our hotel recommendations were correct. Chan Kare was definitely the better of the two, but Turban Curry was pretty good. Came home, Agra was very sick, took care of him, and now we're here. Next day. All right, you guys, have a good one. Enjoy art, don't die. Bye. All right. Hello, recording post days. Recording for Sunday the 21st and Monday the 22nd because we kind of forgot in the hustle and bustle. So 21st, not on Sunday, was not really eventful. Did chores, laundry, errands, everything to prepare for leaving on Monday and traveling. Agra still wasn't feeling super great, so we were just kind of, hanging out. I did go out back to the Higashiyama district. I didn't take many pictures, but I went back and found gifts for Agra's aunt and grandma. We got more of the chestnut cream dorayaki and the white bean, and this time I got the red bean as well, red bean costella cakes, which were so good that we tried. All right, and then the 22nd was travel day, so we got up early and, hauled our butts out of bed and got to the checked it out, got to the Kanazawa station, main station, jumped on, we took 4 trains. So we hopped on the first one, which is a really fast Shinkansen train, and then we hopped on a slower local line, and then we hopped on a very fast Shinkansen train, and then we hopped on a slower, small local line all the way to Agra's family's hometown. And then we didn't do much the rest of the day. We kind of walked through the town a little bit on our walk to the hotel, which was very nice and quaint, and just chatted, and then that was pretty much it. We unpacked, put our stuff down, checked in, hung out, napped, and then we have opted in this hotel to do, because it's a small town, not a lot of things are open in the evenings or early in the morning either. So you can opt in for breakfast plans or dinner plans. And so we opted in for the dinner set meal omakase style food. And it is so much food, but it's freaking rad at the same time. It is so cool to have someone else cook for us. And it's in our hotel, so we just go downstairs. But wait till you see everything we ate the first night, you guys. It is just bonkers. So we had some really good kind of, I think we pork katsu in sauce and veggies over there on the side. Rice and miso soup, of course. And then we had some pretty incredible, like, real mapo tofu. So apparently they have like a Sichuan chef, because they have a Sichuan meal that we didn't sign up for that one, but it exists. And so some really, really good real mapo tofu, which is that, like, spicy Sichuan kind of sauce with ground beef and tofu, and delicious. A little spicy for me, but very good. And then a whole fish. We're not sure what kind of fish, but yeah, I think to me, as a Westerner, it feels like something that was salt baked, which is like what it sounds like. You cover the thing in salt and then you bake it, so it kind of like evaporates a lot of the moisture and soaks in the salt. So it was very salty, so you mixed it with the rice. It was really good. Interesting to eat. I sucked at pulling it apart, but Agra was quite good at it. But it was yummy. Our hotel is billed as a luxury hotel, as Agra puts it. It's a luxury hotel in the 80s, and it kind of is like a time capsule. Like, it hasn't changed very much in some ways. And everything is like nice about it, right? Like, there's no problems or anything like that. It's just very 80s. But it's just funny to be in, kind of like the 80s Shining, because it's definitely more of like a businessmen's travel for work kind of hotel, right? Not like a family hotel or something like that. So it's, yeah. When we checked in, I was the only female guest, and there were not many guests total, is kind of the point. But yeah, all right. That's Sunday, Monday. We'll get to Tuesday later. All right. Enjoy Art Don't Die. Bye, you guys.
Okay, so there's probably going to be some time skips and some gaps in time here because I got quite a bit sick in Kanazawa. I managed to bounce back, but I did get quite a bit sick in Kanazawa. So Stitches took it upon herself to do a number of the recording days. I don't know which days she's recorded, so there might be some days skipping throughout here. But I wanted to do sort of a general interlude for my mom's hometown. I spent some time with my grandmother and my aunt. None of that is going to be included in this video. I'll probably talk maybe a little bit about it on stream, but that's not going to be on this publicly posted YouTube. But yeah, other than visiting my family, we went to the bookstore. We went to the bookstore in town. I got some pictures of some manga and some magazines that I thought were neat. We stopped by a couple places to eat. I have some things to say about the hotel that maybe I'll include in a different. Actually, maybe I'll talk about that now. The hotel that we were staying at was a very old hotel, very old like luxury business hotel, from the, I don't know, 70s, 80s, probably even older than that. The meals were amazing. The dinners were incredible. The views were gorgeous. The initial room that we were in was not great. It was the lamp for the parking lot was right outside, so it was a little difficult to get some sleep. And it was definitely an old room, so it was slightly more run down. But they moved us on the third day, just because we had showed up without a reservation. They moved us on the third day to one of the newer rooms, and that room was much, much nicer. They kind of redeemed the hotel largely in the end for me. But yes, the dinners were great. There's going to be a whole bunch of footage of the outdoors and some aspects of the hotel, and a couple of places that we went to eat. And yeah, and you know, stuff like Toy Store and things like that. Just kind of a collection of small town Japan things. The big one though is the town shrine. I have a number. I did a number of video recordings of me walking around the town shrine and commenting on things that changed because out of all of the aspects of town, that's the one that sticks out the most in my mind because my grandma's house was relatively close to the shrine, so I went there a lot when I was a kid growing up and doing regular visits to Japan. So that I think there's probably a lot I had to say on the in regards to the shrine and how it changed and things like that. Whoa, look at that. You can hear the waterfall, but also the wild, those are all spider lilies. Had to get out of the way of the car. Oh, goodness. Wow, I think these spider lilies must have like just started blooming. Because Stitches and I did not see any spider lilies or anything like this the last few days.